You plant bell peppers every spring. You water them. You feed them. You wait all summer. And when harvest time comes, you're pulling off peppers the size of tennis balls. Thin walls, not much flavor. Meanwhile, some gardeners are pulling peppers so big, they barely fit in their hand. Thick walls you can hear crunch. Plants loaded with fruit from July straight through September. What's the difference? One old school step most people skip at planting time. I learned this 8 years ago from a grower who'd been doing it for 40 years. His plants always outperformed everyone else's. I tried it. My harvest doubled. The fruits were noticeably bigger. I've done it every year since. Today I'm walking you through that trick, plus 4 other steps that stack with it. And at the end, a feeding method that costs almost nothing and pushes plants to set more fruit. Before we start, drop a comment right now telling me what country you're watching from. I want to see every single location in this community. I post simple tips like this every week. Subscribe so you won't miss out. Let's get into it. Step 1. Before you put a pepper plant in the ground, add something to the bottom of the planting hole. Not compost, not fertilizer, wood ash. If you have a fireplace, a wood stove, or you burn brush, you have access to this for free. Wood ash is loaded with 2 things peppers desperately need: potassium and calcium. Potassium drives fruit development. It's what makes your peppers size up and develop thick walls instead of staying thin and papery. Calcium prevents a heartbreaking problem I'll explain in a minute. Dig your planting hole about 8 inches deep. Take about half a tablespoon of pure wood ash and mix it thoroughly into the bottom. Don't leave it in a clump. Mix it well so the high alkalinity doesn't shock young roots. Then add a thin layer of plain soil over it, maybe an inch, so roots aren't sitting directly on concentrated ash. This has to be ash from untreated wood. No painted wood. No pressure-treated lumber. Just plain firewood ash. If you don't have wood ash, use bone meal instead. It's packed with phosphorus, which drives root growth and flowering. Use about 1 tablespoon per plant, mixed the same way. This gives your pepper plant access to nutrients right where its roots are developing. As those roots grow down, they're pulling up potassium and calcium continuously. Strong roots, thick-walled fruit, and protection against problems. Wood ash also raises soil pH slightly. Peppers like their pH between 6 and 6.8. If your soil is naturally acidic, this gentle buffer helps balance it. Type wood ash if you've got a fireplace and you're going to try this. Step 2. Here's where a lot of pepper growers mess up. They treat peppers like tomatoes. You've probably heard you can bury tomato plants deep, 2/3 of the stem underground. Tomatoes grow roots all along that buried stem. Peppers don't. If you bury a pepper plant too deep, that stem sits in cold, moist soil, and you're inviting stem rot. Fungal problems. The plant struggles instead of thriving. Here's the right depth. Dig your hole 6 to 8 inches deep. Set the plant so the first set of true leaves sits just above the soil line. You're burying a bit of the lower stem, which encourages some root development, but you're not going so deep that you risk rot. A single pepper plant can easily hold a dozen large fruits at once. That's serious weight. If your root system is weak or shallow, the plant's going to struggle. It might drop flowers, produce smaller fruits, or topple over in wind or rain. Don't create a depression around the plant when you fill in the hole. Keep the soil level even, or very slightly mounded. If you create a bowl, water's going to pool around the stem. That's asking for rot. Step 3. Before that plant goes in the ground, give it a drink. Take a bucket, fill it with water, and submerge the entire root ball for 15 to 20 minutes before planting. This helps the plant go into the soil fully hydrated and reduces transplant shock. Transplant shock is real. If that plant goes into the soil already stressed and thirsty, it takes weeks to recover. But if you fully saturate the root system first, it establishes faster. While that plant is soaking, look it over carefully. Check for damaged leaves, signs of pests, or any yellowing lower leaves. If you see damaged foliage, pinch it off. Dead leaves just drain energy. If you're learning something useful here, hit that subscribe button. Step 4. Peppers hate getting their leaves wet. Wet foliage invites fungal diseases, bacterial spot, and all kinds of problems that can wipe out your plants. Surface watering also creates problems. Water runs off before it penetrates, leaving a hard crust on top while the roots down below stay dry. You're using tons of water and your plants are still thirsty. Here's the system I've been using for years. Take an old plastic pot from a nursery or a plastic bottle. Poke 10 to 15 holes all around the sides and bottom using a drill or a nail. When you're planting your pepper, bury that pot in the ground about 6 inches away from the plant. Sink it in so the top rim is just above the soil surface. When it's time to water, pour water directly into that buried pot. It seeps out through the holes and goes straight down to the root zone. The surface stays dry. Your foliage stays dry. Your roots get a deep, thorough soaking every time. No runoff, no waste, and no disease pressure. Deep roots are more drought tolerant and more stable. I've been doing this for years. The difference in plant health is night and day. My peppers stay healthier all season. I'm pulling bigger fruits consistently, and it takes the guesswork out of watering. If the pot is dry, it's time to water. Cold climate zones 3 through 6. Start peppers indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost, and use this system as soon as you transplant. Warm zones 7 through 9. Get this watering pot in place at planting time to protect those roots. Step 5. Let me tell you about the most frustrating problem pepper growers face. You're watching a pepper develop. It's sizing up nicely. Then you notice a dark, sunken spot on the bottom. It starts small, then spreads until the pepper becomes inedible. It's called blossom end rot. It looks like a disease, but it's not. It's a calcium deficiency. Even if your soil has plenty of calcium, if your watering is inconsistent, the plant can't pull it up. Calcium moves through the plant strictly via water. If the soil dries out, then gets soaked, then dries out again, calcium movement stops. Blossom end rot is the result. This is why that wood ash or bone meal we added at planting matters so much. You put a calcium reserve right in the root zone. And this is why consistent watering with that buried pot system matters. Steady water means steady calcium uptake. Do both, and you'll rarely see blossom end rot. Type blossom end rot if you've dealt with this before. Now here's that feeding trick I mentioned at the start. Once your plants start flowering and setting fruit, give them a light feeding of Epsom salt. You probably have Epsom salt in your bathroom right now. Dissolve 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt in a gallon of water. Use that to water your plants about once every 2 to 3 weeks during flowering. Epsom salt provides magnesium and sulfur. Magnesium is crucial for chlorophyll production, the engine that makes leaves deep green and allows plants to convert sunlight into energy. More chlorophyll means more energy, which pushes the plant to set more blossoms. Since I started doing this, I've noticed my pepper plants set noticeably more fruit. The fruits themselves are bigger and thicker walled. The plants look healthier overall, with darker green leaves and more robust growth. It's a cheap trick. A box of Epsom salt costs a couple dollars and lasts an entire season. You can spray it on the leaves if you want faster results, but I prefer watering it into the soil. Less work and no risk of leaf burn. One more critical thing, don't crowd your pepper plants. Peppers need air circulation to stay healthy. Space your plants 18 to 24 inches apart in the row, and leave at least 24 to 36 inches between rows. This gives each plant room to spread out, allows air to flow through the canopy to reduce disease, and makes harvesting easier. Good spacing also ensures each plant gets adequate sunlight. If they're too close, they shade each other out, causing lower leaves to yellow and drop off. Give them space and they'll reward you with better growth and bigger yields. 5 steps for bigger, more productive bell peppers. Add wood ash or bone meal to the planting hole for potassium and calcium. Plant at the correct depth, 6 to 8 inches with the first true leaves just above soil level. Soak the root ball for 15 to 20 minutes before planting to reduce transplant shock. Install a buried pot watering system to keep roots hydrated deep down and foliage dry. Prevent blossom end rot with proper amendments and consistent watering. Use the Epsom salt feeding trick during flowering to maximize fruit set, and space properly at 18 to 24 inches. None of this is complicated or expensive. Wood ash is free if you burn wood. Old pots are free. Bone meal and Epsom salt cost almost nothing. This is smart foundational gardening that gives plants what they actually need. When you do that, they respond. What's your biggest challenge growing bell peppers? Drop a comment, and if you've got a tip that's worked for you, share it below. If this helped you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. This is Plantoria Gardening. We don't follow trends. We share proven methods that actually increase yields. Traditional techniques, real results, no hype. Grow them right from the start. Give them what they need. Watch them reward you with the biggest peppers you've ever harvested. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.